Hey dancers, welcome back to another video. My name is Kirsten. I'm a former professional dancer and a mindset coach for dancers. Today I'm going to lighten things up on the channel. I'm gonna give a little bit of a hot take. I love a good hot take. I also love a good laugh. It's just so healthy to be able to laugh at yourself, to be able to laugh at the culture you're a part of, to be able to laugh at the illusions you buy into, especially as a ballet dancer, because honestly, it's pretty silly sometimes and we do some silly things. I have done many of the silly things I'm about to share with you, and so today I thought, let's talk about 10 cringe-worthy things that ballet dancers do. To be fair, it's often younger ballet dancers. I have done a lot of these when I was younger. This is not a roast necessarily. No, it is, but I'm also like laughing with you. So let's just all have some fun. Comment below if I missed anything, if you have something to add or to share. Give it a thumbs up if you want more fun, lighthearted videos like this. And let's just get started. So the first cringeworthy thing that ballet dancers do is they very awkwardly stand turned out. Like not just in the studio, but also like IRL in real life, all over the place. It's not that, I mean, hey, I still do this. Literally, people still comment on like how I'm standing. They're like, oh, of course you're a dancer, you're standing. You know, there's that posture where you kind of like sit in one hip and like you're kind of like your feet are like this and one's kind of turned out. Or like when you cross your legs, it just looks a little bit more elegant. I don't know, whatever. But I'm talking like, okay, that might be weird. Sure, I'm weird. But I'm talking like when dancers stand either in like a first position, third position, or like some sort of weird fifth position in public, or like hands behind their back, like very tall, proud posture. It's really weird, and like legs glued together. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, don't slouch. I'm really not a fan of the dancer posture that totally goes the other way, and dancers are like totally hunched like this with their hands on their hips, and because they think it makes them look cool. That is equally cringeworthy in my opinion, but also like standing really awkwardly turned out. It's not the best way to look approachable. And it's not like I'm telling you to blend in, but also like it doesn't hurt to kind of look normal sometimes. I encourage you, if you're a dancer, practice being like a normal person when you leave the studio. It's not like you should hide that you're a dancer. I think being a dancer is super cool, but like there are so many other ways you can express that other than standing kind of strangely. Second cringeworthy thing. Truly, I cringe at this. I don't even want to laugh about it. I hate it, honestly. I just laughed about it. When dancers gossip after a performance, like literally they congregate in the lobby and are like, oh my gosh, did you see how she fell off her point? And oh my gosh, like he wasn't even that good. Or anyway, I hated the choreography. I'm like, really, y'all? Like, can we not just be like, not scumbags, actually uplift other people and maybe appreciate that, none of us are perfect and other people have probably said similar things about your performance, and like appreciate the work that people are putting into their art. Be kind. You know, it's okay to question the costume choice, you know, if they're dancing, or to be like, yeah, that was kind of weird. But like to say it with this attitude of like, oh my gosh, that was so dumb. As if you would do so much better. Oh my gosh, like it's just so toxic. Comment below if you've seen this. I saw it so much at summer programs when I was younger. When I went to a year-round school, like so many dancers in my class would just congregate after seeing this world-class company and then just like shoot down all the things they didn't like about it. I'm like, okay, if this doesn't impress you, literally what will? Like, can we stop? Can we be nice? Judge not lest ye be judged, okay? Like, just saying. Number 3 is dancing like quite full out in public. How many of you guys have done like fletes in a grocery store, or you just like spontaneously burst into dance in public? Y'all, I'm 26 years old. I still do this and like I don't even care. There have been times when I'm just like going on a walk with my friends, especially one who's a ballet dancer, and we'll just like do part of Serenade just like going down the street, just like, you know, it's fun, but it's also like kind of like, ooh, cringe, like, you know, when a dancer is just like constantly moving in public, or just practicing things, or just like pointing their feet and stuff. I can only imagine what like normal people see when they look at that. They're like, oh, interesting, okay. Ultimately, it's not that bad. It's kind of funny. It's kind of cringy. But if you do it, I'm also with you. I never like really outgrew this. Hate on it if you want. Hey friend, I just want to briefly pause today's video to ask you how often you've heard the term ballet is just as mental as it is physical. I think we can all acknowledge and agree on the fact that your mind is what controls your body, and the state of your mind drastically affects how you feel in the studio, how well you're able to perform, and your overall level of satisfaction and confidence as a person. I would like to also ask you if you're experiencing negative spirals of thoughts frequently in class, an inability to focus because you're so in your head, and maybe you're noticing a lot of insecurities coming up frequently that cause you to shrink and hold back and not really be able to dance as well as you think you can, or you know you can. Maybe you aren't really sure if dancing is for you and you're feeling burnt out, but you don't want to quit because you don't know what else you would do. Maybe you need to be grounded more in who you really are apart from dance. Maybe you're struggling with an injury and you need to regain trust with your body again. Or you're doing just fine, but you feel like you can have a little bit more confidence and you're not quite living up to your potential and what you really believe is possible for yourself. Well, as a mindset coach for dancers and a former professional dancer myself, I completely understand and empathize with these struggles. I've been through all of them myself. And now as a master practitioner of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, I help recreational to world-class dancers overcome their mental blocks, whether that be insecurities, lack of confidence, self-doubt, whatever it is they're struggling with. I help them resolve and overcome that and step into confidence so that they can finally achieve their personal and professional goals as dancers. And really, what I love is helping dancers achieve joy and confidence in the studio again, because that is not only what unlocks their best dancing, but it's what helps them to connect with the reason why they started all this in the first place. Because, you know, if we're not enjoying what we're doing, why are we doing ballet in the first place? It's too hard if you don't love it. If you are interested in seeing if mindset coaching will be just the thing to get you into that experience in the studio that you've always wanted and to help you fulfill your potential as an artist, I would love to talk to you. I always offer for everybody a free 1-hour consultation with me where we uncover what's really stopping you and blocking you from achieving your goals. We talk about what your goals and aspirations are and what really inspires you about them, what is important to you about them. And then lastly, if we're a good fit for each other, we talk about what the coaching process would look like for you and what I would recommend as far as how long we work together. So I would love to speak with you if you would like to discover more about what mindset coaching is, what the process is like, what the benefits are, as well as read some fantastic testimonials from my former clients. Visit kirstenkemp.com and schedule your free consultation. I look forward to talking with you. Let's get into the video. Number 4 is wearing a bun with a normal outfit when it is 100% unnecessary. Hey, listen, like I know that sometimes you're just leaving the studio and you're not gonna like undo your hair because it's gonna look even more gross and weird. Like if you take it out, your sweaty hair versus like if you just leave it how it was. That's not what I'm talking about. Also, like, hey, I empathize because I was a ballet major in college. I cannot tell you how many times I was that ballerina, like in finance class with a French twist, because I had to be, because I had to go back to rehearsal like 5 minutes after finance class was over. So, like, not hating on that. But do you guys know, or maybe you are this dancer, if so, sorry, those dancers who it's like their day off and they're wearing a normal outfit, but then they still put their hair in a bun. That is beyond me. It's beyond me. And I'm like, I mean, you could do like a ponytail. That wouldn't kill you, like a ponytail, but you went through the extra effort of putting it in a bun. Number 5, getting so wrapped up in this concept that ballet is life. Ballet is everything. You live ballet, you breathe ballet, you don't eat ballet. But at a certain point, dancers can become so consumed with brainwashing themselves that ballet is everything. Because honestly, in order to put so much effort and make so many sacrifices that you have to make in order to like become a professional dancer, you kind of in a way have to brainwash yourself into justifying all the things that you do for it in order to make it feel worth it. So like there's also a function to that. I'm not saying I agree with it, but there's a function to making ballet your whole world. I get it. But when dancers are just so obsessed with ballet that they block out the idea that there is a whole other world out there full of interesting things, interesting concepts, ideas, history, people, things to do, you kind of forget like ballet isn't everything. I think you could get super small-minded, nearsighted, or have like narrow tunnel vision. It can be ultimately kind of disrespectful to other people if you don't like expand your mind and get outside of your ballet box. I've seen dancers, and this is going to be another point, like when all you live for and all you talk about is ballet, it's not inclusive to other people who aren't dancers. It's kind of self-centered. Like it's so great to open your mind and to really listen and see the dignity in other lifestyles and other areas of culture, other industries. Get to know other people's stories and see the dignity and the beauty in it instead of just being so wrapped up in like ballet is everything and that's all I talk about. Cringeworthy point number 6 is a total roast. Please stop doing this. Many younger dancers, but also some professional dancers, yes, I will admit it, do see normal people who don't dance, as less interesting or almost like a lesser breed of human. And this is totally unacceptable and we need to stop this now. Again, with that idea of like brainwashing yourself in order to justify all of the sacrifices you're making to be a dancer, it's not cool when then that translates into how you see other people and how you see other people as like generalizing normal people as, oh, they don't know what it's like to work hard. They don't know what art is, culture, living your life for your passion. Like, oh my gosh. First, ballet is such a privilege. Like, sorry, get your head out of your rear. Whoa, getting really saucy. Salty. And recognize that not everyone is privileged enough to do something like ballet or to like it is a very privileged thing to pursue your passion, to have someone supporting you and the time of day to be able to devote enough hours to your training to live your passion. You know, you then can't hate on other people who literally don't have the time and the privilege to work so hard at something that is actually quite like arbitrary. Dancers, normal people, don't just lump them together as like one other part of the human race. Give them some dignity. There are lots of other people doing very cool things in life. Lots of other people with passions that just also aren't there, like they're not trying to make it their day job. Lots of other people who work really hard, who have interesting ideas, who are doing really cool things in this world. They are not lesser. Stop talking about them as such. Stop thinking about them as such, because one day you will become one of those normal people. Imagine that. Point 7 of the cringeworthiness discussion is dancers who look at themselves in the mirror while they talk to other people. Just please stop doing this, you guys. I know so many dancers who do it. It is straight up infuriating. This is what I refuse to do. If I'm talking to you, and I'm sorry if I've ever done this because it's super not cool. Like if you're talking to someone, make eye contact with them. Look at them as if, and well, actually listen to them and listen to them with your eyes. Give them the respect of your attention instead of looking at yourself as you talk to make sure you look cool. Oh my gosh, comment if you know what I'm talking about. Comment, please. please tell me I'm not alone in seeing this. Double check that you don't do this, because no. Like the South Texan in me is just screaming. My parents are always, they taught me from a young age, look people in the eye, strong eye contact while you're talking to them, firm handshake, good posture, listen, ask questions. Like this was always ingrained in me. And when I see other dancers, or I've been the victim of this so many times, where I'm talking to a dancer and they are looking at themselves while I talk. They are looking at themselves while they talk. I'm like, okay, like I think if I just left, you wouldn't even notice. Cringeworthy point number 8 is kind of related to another point I made about normal people and how dancers tend to see normal people. This is cringeworthy. Like when dancers refuse to acknowledge that other people also follow their passions and they're like equally as worthwhile and cool. Like, again, that just goes into the point of like, expand your mind. Subpoint to this is also like when dancers believe that normal people live mundane lives. First, that like increases your fear of the day when eventually you can't dance anymore. Also, it's like totally not true. Life is not mundane, and you don't need to dance in order to live an exciting life. I mean, it's still cool, and I hope for everyone that stops dancing seriously, you can still do it for fun because it's awesome. But like, don't be fooled in thinking like everyone else is out there living mundane lives. Or if you work an office job, you're like, you've chosen a lower path in life rather than like this lofty path of being an artist. Like the world needs all different types of people, and we need to acknowledge that and respect that and be thankful that there are people who do office jobs so that our world can work the way it does. Because maybe they find that interesting. Maybe they also don't, but they have other passions outside of work. There are a lot of different ways to live a good life, and it's important to acknowledge that. Cringeworthy point number 9 is when dancers do not adjust their language around people who don't dance. So what that means is like, maybe you just talk about ballet all the time. And maybe, yeah, ballet is like your whole world in your life, but that doesn't mean you can't listen and ask people questions or just pick out the parts of your experience as a dancer that they might understand or they might empathize with. Like, if you're going to talk about ballet, make it to where the other person can connect with you in what you're talking about. Otherwise, it's just a monologue. So if you're talking about your directors and you're just using like their first names, it's like, sorry, who's that? I mean, like, am I supposed to know who that is? Or if I'm a non-dancer and you're talking to me and you're like, oh, and I did this variation in my point shoes and then we were rehearsing this piece, and like, it means nothing to someone who hasn't been exposed to that world. And so it's not that you can't talk about ballet, but be sensitive about it. Share things with them that will be interesting and will help them to see the ballet world as something like they can imagine and something that they can connect with. Or just don't talk about ballet. Ask the other person questions about their life. Get curious. Don't just talk about ballet in using vocabulary that only dancers understand. Maybe it's a good practice to talk about other aspects of your life too. Challenge yourself to have other priorities in life. Be balanced, and take these conversations as a chance to not only get to know another person or to relate ballet to them in a way that actually connects, or just to not talk about ballet at all. That's great too. Point 10. I think, I've totally been guilty of this in the past, and it's something I'm very passionate about sharing with dancers and encouraging them to not do this. A lot of dancers refuse to take compliments, and they openly criticize themselves, not only in front of other dancers, but in front of people who don't dance. And honestly, it could be so alienating and uncomfortable and honestly, it's prideful. If you cannot receive a compliment that someone is giving you, you're invalidating how they just went out on a limb to be kind. And if you're so wrapped up in yourself that you refuse to take a compliment, like, you're making all this about you and they were just trying to be kind. It doesn't kill you to just say thank you. You don't have to tell them, oh, well, it could have been better, or, oh, no, it's not. Like, I don't believe you. Like, don't do that. maybe start to see yourself through other people's eyes, and it's probably a much kinder view. So many dancers are so hard on themselves. And again, I've totally done this and I've since apologized for it. It's just not kind to someone who's actually trying to be nice. And it makes them feel uncomfortable. It actually breaks rapport in that conversation, you know, that trust and that connection you have. And especially when you're openly criticizing yourself, like this is, more specifically, this is a really big deal. Dancers need to really stop being critical of their bodies in front of others, because let's be honest, ballet dancers, most of us are already very in shape or very thin, maybe even past the point of being healthy, you know, so thin. And it can be so hurtful to other people who don't look like you. Maybe they're at a healthy weight. Maybe, especially those who are overweight, maybe they're insecure. And when you openly criticize your own body in front of other people, dancers or not, it really plants that seed in their mind of, oh, well, if they judge themselves like that, they're definitely judging me. You're planting a seed of causing them to look at themselves critically, because that only makes sense. If you judge yourself like that, of course you're going to judge other people like that. And so it's just really toxic. It's really rude. So just being very careful, no matter who you're in front of, dancers or not. Don't criticize yourself openly. You know, we all have days where we have very self-critical thoughts, but it's really important to either keep them to yourself or, well, it's also very important to talk about them with a trusted friend, but to say, hey, I'm really thinking this and I don't want to believe it. I know it's not true, but I'm like really struggling with this thought. So it becomes more of, you know, I'm having this thought and I don't want to judge myself like this. I know it's not right. And you're seeking resolution rather than just being like, ugh, I'm so fat, you know, in order to seek validation from other people. That is really not kind. It's not healthy. And you can really start to do your part to make ballet culture a much healthier thing if you just watch your language around other people and show others respect by not spewing judgment and accepting compliments if they go out on a limb to give you one. Make sure to watch my video that I made on complaining culture in ballet. I hope you'll really enjoy that and benefit from it. I talk about how toxic our culture of normalizing complaining is, and yeah, it's a message I'm really passionate about sharing, because as dancers, that is really something that we can change in order to make our culture healthier. We don't have to wait for things outside of our controls, like systems necessary. Well, I don't want to say it's all outside of our control. I do believe something can be done. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. But like, we don't have to wait for other people to change for ballet to be a healthier place, a healthier culture, a healthier thing. All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already to this channel. I post lots of videos, not just lighthearted ones like this, but really practical, tangible advice and guidance for how you can excel in your career as a dancer, how you can be mentally healthy, and just overall a healthy, happy dancer. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.